Sometimes you need to read a table twice to get two different records or data from two different records that are related to each other. In an entity relationship diagram, this is called a recursive relationship, and a table might be related to itself. Although we don't see that type of recursive relationship in that diagram on page 11 of our textbook, the customer table in the Just Lead database does have a field called referred that keeps track of whether or not a customer was referred to the Just Lead bookstore by another customer. So in SQL, you use what's called a self-join when you want to get two pieces of data from two separate records that are related in your database. So a self-join is used to link a table to itself. Now, in order to do this, in our select statement, we have to call the same table twice, but we have to refer to each instance of the table, and I'm not so sure that's the correct word to use, instance, but the first time we review the table or read the table, we want to refer to it as one thing in our select statement, and the second time we read the table, we want to refer to it as something different. So this is where table aliases are required in a self-join. Now, a few slides back, when we had 4 different tables in our select clause, we used table aliases, and that's the same thing we're going to do here. Obviously, it's going to require the use of a column qualifier. In other words, the table dot the column name. Here's an example of some data from the customer table. And I mentioned it had that field called referred. The data in the referred field is a customer ID number or customer number. And what it indicates is that this particular customer was referred by this customer. So let's look at how that would be written in an SQL statement. Before we go there, let me tell you again what we would do is in your select statement, you're going to read the table and get data for one record, in this case, Tammy Gianna, but then you want to find out what's the name of the customer who referred Tammy. We have to take this referred data, which matches with the customer number. I'm not doing a very good job at drawing my arrow here. And we're able to see that reading the second time through, customer 103 was Leila Smith. Okay, here's that example in the where clause. Here's that example in a select statement where we select the first name and the last name from the referred. So what the R is saying is Leila Smith referred these 3 people. So that's how this is going to work. We're going to select the R dot first name, R dot last name. The R is coming from the second look of the customers table. And then we're selecting C dot last name. And let me remind you what this is. This is a column alias. So instead of last name showing up here, shows the word referred. Column alias, table alias. In our where clause, we have our join condition, where customer.referred is equal to the customer R dot customer number. So again, the same table, but just different table aliases. Certainly, this can be a confusing concept. If you do feel that you need more explanation, please don't be afraid to email me if you're having trouble, if you're struggling with a self-join exercise at the end of the chapter. But we will talk about it again during our next class session. And hopefully, if you have any questions or concerns, we can clear them up.